Again, I'm Aisha Driggers. Before we get started, I'd like to welcome our director, Melissa Lindler. She would like to welcome you all before we get started with our webinar. Melissa?
Thank you so much, Aisha, and thank you for coordinating this great webinar today. Thank you to everyone that's able to join us near and far in the comfort and safety of your homes today. Today, we're going to talk about technology and the role of technology and leverage technology during this pandemic and keeping our businesses strong and going. I want to thank our panelists for being a part of this effort this morning. This afternoon, as well as the staff of OBO and all of our partners that are on here, the Women's Business Center at Benedict College, brand new business center there, and Richland County Library, as well as the South Carolina Department of, South Carolina SCDC. So thank you all so much for being here. We're happy to have you and look forward to the webinar this afternoon. Thanks, Aisha.
All right, thank you, Melissa. So right now, before we get into our panelist discussion, we're going to just go over a couple of things about the Office of Business Opportunities. Just in case you're not familiar, we want to let everybody know that you have this resource right here at the city ready to assist you in any way you need. So we have a couple of areas within our Office of Business Opportunity. One of them is our commercial lending. It offers financial assistance to startup and existing businesses for growth, expansion, retention, and the creation of new jobs. We also provide assistance in the redevelopment of commercial corridors. Our next area is the contractor and supplier diversity. It offers training and support for city initiatives, and it's designed to increase the local contractors' capacity to compete for government contracts and other procurement opportunities. It's really important to leadership that our procurement reflects the diversity of our great city. So we utilize our programs such as subcontractor outreach, mentor protege, our local business enterprise preference policy, and our Columbia Disadvantaged Business Enterprise within our procurement area to increase the utilization of minority, women, and small business owners. We also have our technical assistance, education, and advocacy area. It offers business development assistance and courses for startups and existing businesses looking to grow and expand. We cover topics such as marketing, the use of social media, business plan development, finances, legal topics, and this particular training we're doing right now comes out of our technical assistance, education, and advocacy. Now, through this pandemic, we've started a new format with webinars, and it's been a very successful way of us to increase our reach as far as the business owners. Early on, leadership established a Resilient Columbia Economic Recovery Task Force small group to identify areas where our office and our city could assist the small businesses. Through that subcommittee, we had identified the need to provide general signage and decals for businesses. We also recognized the need for financial training webinars. We realized some of our small businesses were not readily positioned to access some of the financial resources that were coming down from the federal government. And we decided that we needed to provide some additional training for future opportunities. So we did have a back to basics financial and bookkeeping training earlier this summer, and we expect to continue to offer some of those trainings in the future. We've also wanted to provide expert guidance from CDC and DHEC, as well as OSHA. There's a lot of information going out, so we wanted to make sure we provided accurate information to the small business community. And we've done that through webinars. We've had several webinars for the restaurant owners, retail owners, cosmetologists, and the construction industry. Fortunately, we were able to partner with OSHA to provide that very important information to the businesses as they open. If you go down Main Street, you'll see some of these decals reminding the public to stay 6 feet apart. We understand the importance of social distancing, and the city has provided these decals to our business community. We also have some flyers that the city has created. If you take the pledge, which I'll go over in just a minute, these flyers will be made available to the businesses, just reminding their customers and their employees that they are reopening responsibly. They're encouraging social distance and also encouraging the face coverings. The City of Columbia has established the Resilient Columbia Pledge. It can be found at resilient.columbiasc.gov. And this pledge says that the business declares that they are taking steps based upon guidance from CDC and DHEC to monitor the health of their employees, to clean high-touch areas frequently, to encourage the use of face coverings, and promote regular hand washing. They also will limit the number of people both inside the building and in the outdoor spaces if applicable. And as always, promote social distancing at all times to include the public right of way and the area adjacent to the business. The thing that makes our pledge unique is we also have an interactive map that you can see on the next slide. So far, we've had over 400 businesses take the pledge. And the great thing about this map is the customers, employees can see which businesses have taken the pledge. And it's also a marketing tool because you can find their phone number and their website to see which businesses are taking this pledge seriously. So we're really excited about that. The city has also created a Mask Up challenge. It engages new public education and social engagement to encourage all citizens to protect themselves from potential exposure to COVID. The neat thing about this challenge is it's a really creative way for individuals to share pictures and videos of their mask. So we encourage you to go to maskupcolumbiasc.com and share those pictures and add some pictures of your own to join the Mask Up Challenge. Some upcoming webinars that we want to share. We've actually updated this. So the Mentor Protege Program annual meeting will actually be later in the month of September. So we'll share that on our website. Also, our Minority Business Opportunities Conference will be the week of October 13th. And we're also planning a disaster recovery plan and how a business can establish that plan and pivot their business as needed. So we're expecting that to occur sometime in November. After this webinar concludes, you will receive a survey that we ask that you complete. It just helps us make sure that we're providing the needed resources that the small business community needs. If there are some additional topics that you would like our office to provide, we're open to hear that feedback and any other feedback you have regarding the survey. So you'll receive that email later today. This is contact information for the City of Columbia. Our physical offices are closed, but I guarantee you our office is open. We work night and day to make sure we're providing the necessary resources that you need as the small business community. You can reach us at 803-545-3950. All of our personal desktop phones are going to our mobile phones, so you will receive a call back. You can also look at our website at www.columbiasc.gov/OBO, and you can email us at obo@columbiasc.gov. One of the items I want to share with you is if you're not receiving our newsletter, please email us at that OBO email address, and we will get your name added to the newsletter. It's a lot of great information about upcoming webinars and resources, not just from the City of Columbia, but throughout the community and throughout the nation about different opportunities that may be of interest to you as a small business. Okay. So now I'm excited. We're going to get to our main event. Today we have Mr. Rick Wade with us. He's the Vice President of Strategic Alliances and Outreach at the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. He's a native of South Carolina, and Mr. Wade is currently based in Washington, D.C. He develops and implements programs and initiatives to help the Chamber create new business relationships and partnerships across diverse audiences. He also provides counsel on policy issues and leads special projects. Wade's wealth of knowledge and experience in both the public and private sectors enable him to give a megaphone to the voice of business across the country and share the positive impacts of free enterprise systems. Wade received his BS from the University of South Carolina and an MPA from Harvard University. He was awarded honorary doctorates from Benedict College and the South Carolina State University. And he's received numerous awards for exemplary leadership and public service. It's my great honor to introduce Mr. Rick Wade.
Thank you, Aisha, for the introduction, and thank you, Melissa, for inviting me to participate in this session. and all of the work that you do in the city I still live in, Columbia, South Carolina, even though I'm here in Washington, D.C. And actually, I was just reflecting on D.C. this week. As you know, some 57 years ago, over 250,000 Americans, a lot of mostly Black Americans, convened here in our nation's capital for the historic March on Washington, which was led by, obviously, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And one of the things that we oftentimes remember that march about, obviously, was a march for freedom. But the reality is that march was a march about freedom and jobs. It was about jobs. It was about economic opportunity and mobility and prosperity as well. And oftentimes oftentimes think of the struggle that we're still engaged in as a struggle for civil rights and not economic opportunity. The reality is they are inextricably linked. One cannot exist without the other. And yet still a half century later, while we've made some progress, the stark gaps still remain. And there is so much more work to be done. And it's more important now than ever. You know the reality, you know the statistics, the facts that today, the opportunity to start a business, to get an education or provide for your family is often determined by the color of your skin. For decades, Black unemployment rates have been consistently twice as high as white unemployment rates. Black students are twice as likely to attend high poverty schools than their white peers. Black business owners still struggle to access capital for their ventures and to grow and expand. And Black Americans are more likely than whites to be arrested and to be convicted and to be sentenced, making it more difficult and sometimes impossible to re-enter the job market and build a new and better life. A new partnership that I have with the W.K. Kellogg Foundation, we're taking one of their signature reports, The Business Case for Racial Equity, to business leaders across the country. And one of the statements that they made in this report was, and I quote, that the persistent racial disparities that we see today did not happen by accident. They arose from a long history of deliberate policies based on race and have been perpetuated by biases that still remain. Systemic inequalities hurt individuals, communities, and our economy and our society. And no place more evident than that is in the area of Black businesses. A recent report that we just released at the U.S. Chamber of Commerce and MetLife, we found that Black-owned businesses, minority businesses, have been hit disproportionately hard in recent months as a result of this COVID-19 pandemic. Black owners, business owners, that is, are more likely than non-minority business owners to report difficulty obtaining loans. We know that. But the most astonishing result of this study shows that some 66% of Black-owned businesses across America are concerned about permanently closing. That is absolutely unconscionable, because as you and I know, that these are not just businesses that are job creators, these are anchors in our communities. These are part of the social fabric and social organizational structure of our communities. So we're leaning in at the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, the largest business organization in the world, to close these gaps and address what we call the inequalities of opportunity. And we're focusing on 4 different areas of education, criminal justice, employment, health, wealth, and yes, entrepreneurship. We must lean in and invest in and save and help expand and grow opportunities for Black and minority businesses across the country. Front and center is that of this whole business ecosystem is technology, which is what we're going to talk about today. And whether you're a technology company or a technology enabled, the reality is that technology is here and technology is here to stay. And whether it's in areas of autonomous automation and robotics or blockchain, the new digital ledgers that now are being used in supply chain management, whether it's in big data and data intelligence, analytics, this data-driven economy, and the intelligent use of data. will help differentiate you from your competitors. Think about customer engagement. It's all about data. It's about the Internet of Things. As we think about the personalization of customer services and products, machine learning and data insights, thinking about the impact of COVID-19 and what we're seeing today, and contact tracing. It is about data and intelligence and analytics that now is being used by employees and employers to track COVID-19. The opportunities are rich if we reimagine the way we've been and what we can become in the future. This interesting COVID-19 world that we exist in, and this new normal or post-COVID-19, regardless of where we are, there are challenges that we all are confronted with, but there are also opportunities. And one of the messages that I engage in having conversations with Black business leaders across the country is that in as much as these challenges before us are real, and the racial inequities which are playing out even today in Wisconsin are real, we must also think about not just the short-term solutions, but long-term implications and opportunities. The entire economy, as we sit here today, is being redesigned as we speak. We're all now meeting by virtual conversations and Microsoft Teams and Zoom. Our students and children now are studying at home using technology. What are the implications for us as Black people in America and as Black business owners and leaders to be part of the design structure and owners and stakeholders, and in this new economy that's being designed as we sit here and talk today? And so I look forward to having this dialogue with you about your work, not only in Columbia, but being an example and a model for other Black businesses in America. And, you know, some of this is about what we should be doing as a business community, but there's certainly policy implications. The chamber is leading as we've launched this new equality of opportunity initiative. We're working with members of Congress, and our state and local chambers are working on the same agenda with state legislators and city halls about addressing these systemic inequalities, again, around education and underemployment, as well as entrepreneurship in the halls of governance and power and policy. And so working together, I believe that on the policy front, coupled with the role of business and industry, we can help solve these challenges facing Black business and create equality of opportunity for all of us. So with that said, Melissa and Aisha, I'd like to yield the rest of the time to have a dialogue and talk about some of the issues perhaps that we're seeing at the chamber, and hear from you as business owners and business leaders and policymakers on what we should be doing even more to create opportunity for Black businesses in particular to grow and expand. None more important, I believe, than the issue of access to capital, which is a driver, a opportunity, and a barrier. And so I'd love to have a conversation as well as we think about technology. How do we access the capital to even advance the technological learning and build the infrastructures that we need in technology to be competitive today in the months and years to come?
Great. That's great, Mr. Wade. So you brought up a good first question that we have. Even our office has witnessed difficulty that some of our small businesses have had as these opportunities to access funding have come down the pipeline, and they haven't really been prepared to respond to those. So what have you seen minorities struggle with as they try to access funding opportunities?
Well, there are a number of challenges. I mean, I think in retrospect, as you think about the CARES Act funding, or even the PPP as we know it, funding from Washington that was to cascade down to local communities. My good friend Ron Busby, who's president of the U.S. Black Chambers of Commerce, would argue that the legislation and the funding never was designed for Black businesses, because when you think about it, the PPP program was designed to keep people employed during this difficult time. But the reality is that of the 2.6 million Black businesses in America, most are sole proprietors. They're independent contractors of one person, maybe two or three. And so the design structure of that, obviously, we've worked with Congress to go back and reevaluate that in the subsequent rounds to put measures in place to make sure that funding got to Black-owned enterprises, whether it's through CDFIs, working with minority banks and other lending institutions, to make sure that flow got to where it should be going, including Black businesses. The other thing that we know, which sadly again has been more exposed by the results of the pandemic, is a need for better banking relationships at the local level with Black-owned enterprises. And also the stark reality that a lot of Black-owned companies are underbanked, and the need for technical assistance. We just launched a new partnership with American Express, not only to get immediate funding to Black-owned companies across the country, but to provide the mentoring. And you talked about a mentoring protege program earlier, but to provide the mentoring and the education and knowledge to our Black-owned companies to be able to be successful, not only when applying for loans, et cetera, but also how do we build the kinds of relationships with private equity and venture capitalists, also to be able to support and invest in Black-owned companies. So I think COVID-19 has exposed these realities that have existed for years. And you know the history, I don't have to tell you, of redlining and the lending practices of financial institutions. I just met with, I'm meeting regularly with banks to try to solve for that. And we got to figure that out. And a lot of that exists, the onus, while it is on the institutions, the financial institutions, some of that is on us as well. And we got to, again, I'm big on the word reimagine and rethink and get out of the box and build the relationships and get the knowledge that we need, and think differently about funding and capacity building with regards to funding and financing of our businesses.
That's great. We have a question about how can someone find more information about the partnership with American Express?
That partnership we're going to publicly detail in the coming weeks, but it will be found at our U.S. Chamber of Commerce Foundation. So stay tuned for more information. American Express has already tangentially made the announcement of this partnership. We've been in the design phase, and we hope that we will bring on other corporate partners in addition to American Express. We think this is an important model. Again, it is about getting some short-term money immediately to Black businesses so they can keep the doors open and pay the bills. And that's really important because, again, it is absolutely unacceptable, this reality that 66% of our businesses could close.
Yeah, that's right. And I would also encourage anyone on the call, if you have any questions, please put those in the chat box and we'll get to them as we can. So are there any suggestions you have for agencies to further assist these businesses access these resources?
Yeah, I think whether it's at the local, state, or federal level, and I'm going to say this because I know you're an agency, but this is why we're pushing the business community to get behind and make front and center at the local level and state level, as well as in Congress, obviously, to strengthen the policies and laws and to streamline certifications, make it easier for Black businesses to engage, whether it's the city of Columbia. You need even more capacity and resources. And I can say that. I'm not asking you to say that, but that's what we're pushing the business community to say, whether it's with the local chamber or the state chamber of commerce as well in South Carolina. This takes a whole of society effort if we're going to strengthen and grow and save Black businesses in Columbia, in South Carolina, across the country. So there are policy implications, Aisha, but there are also some business strategies. I'm working hard to expand opportunities for Black business and corporate supply chains. And, how do we even think of business capital? A lot of these companies have capital. And how can we think of some strategic ways where they could get that capital even flowing to Black businesses across the country?
That's great. We have a question Melissa.
I was just going to ask if you can expand on that, Rick. Mr. Wade, I'm sorry. Can you talk about outreach and how other cities across the country that you visit and you work with are engaging the Black business owners in this discussion? Now more than ever, this information is needed. Some of them had an infrastructure in place prior to COVID and they were struggling. And now we're even further behind those businesses that were struggling before because of COVID. Yeah. What have you seen?
Well, yeah, I mean, some
locality organizations working with. Sorry.
Yeah, well, some communities, obviously, when you think of a place like Atlanta, I mean, again, I think you can't talk about the Black business community and the successes there without talking about the former mayor, and who for years, Maynard, was very progressive in its approaches to engage Black business in the government contracting process. So there's this historical infrastructure that have been built for years, where you see a lot more successes from the community level, the city level, the Black business community. And so that's historical in a lot of these communities. But front and center now, I mean, I think, while the responsibility is of the government, I really do believe that if we can get the private sector, the majority business communities through these chambers to make this a priority, because the outreach is two ways. We can't expect Black businesses to carry this burden on their own. We gotta have the major corporations. We gotta have, I've been in conversation with Boeing and Samsung, who has a big presence in South Carolina, about how can they step up further and be more public in advancing and creating these ecosystems where Black businesses can survive and thrive. Because we're behind, and we're behind not because we don't have the ingenuity and we don't have the desire and the innovation and the drive to create businesses. We're behind because of systemic inequalities. A lot of that was reflected in policies of the past. So, the good news is that with this terrible situation we are in America, we are seeing companies step up in a more deliberate ways, not just making statements, but obviously you see them pledging more financial support to end in racial injustice. I want, as a part of that racial injustice, to be economic opportunity by investing in, supporting, and growing Black businesses.
Thank you.
Good. We have another question in the chat. What is the best setup for agencies to take advantage of public and private sector funding opportunities in today's market? LLC, nonprofit, or some other setup?
For businesses to get, or agencies?
I believe that should be for businesses.
Well, I think that all depends on, the type of organization, whether it's an LLC or other type of structure. I mean, that depends on the kind of company. If you're a sole proprietor or that's a business by business decision. I mean, I don't know that. I imagine in the city of Columbia, you have a very streamlined process for business certification and licensing. As you think about structure, that I'm an advocate for, as we're in this sort of difficult time of our economy, is exploring joint ventures as well. I mean, what are opportunities, or even around acquisitions and mergers of small Black businesses in order to survive and sustain ourselves? So, don't think just about the traditional LLC and sole proprietor, but how can we create some really fascinating joint partnerships where we both can share customers and share opportunities in the market to grow and expand and to sustain ourselves for years to come?
Yeah, that's great. Great advice. What advice would you give to those business owners who do not feel comfortable in using new technology for their business?
Well, you'll get left behind if you don't. I mean, I don't know any other way to say it. If you think of technology today, and I don't know about you, how your food is delivered, and how in a shared economy, whether you use Uber, everything in our society is connected to technology. And we have to figure out as well, if we're going to be competitive in the future, how do we use technology to get the competitive advantage in the marketplace? Whether that's social media, whether it's in your marketing strategies, it is all technology based. It's the Internet of Things. It is how we use artificial intelligence. It is robotics. It's all of these pieces that are part of the design structure of this new economy today and an economy in the future. So this is a matter of competitiveness. One other thing I'll say in terms of technology that I'm leaning in on is how do we also connect Black businesses to the 95% of the consumers who live outside the United States. We have to think about this also in a global perspective and look at it from a global lens. And the reality is today with technology, you can create an opportunity to export to India, to Ghana, or to other parts of the world. So this technology piece, while it is an infrastructure issue and a challenge for Black businesses, you have to be technologically capable if you're going to compete and survive in this big global economy, which is technology enabled.
That's great. Yeah. And thank you for pushing the global aspect. I think that is a thing that we need to be thinking about, reaching beyond just our small circle and look at globally the opportunities that exist. So thank you for that. Someone asked a question about any specific opportunities available for healthcare providers, specifically dietitians. Do you know?
Well, I think health in general and healthcare is an economy that is continuously emerging and evolving. In dietitian, in that area of dietitians and nurses, I came from. My career started, as some of you know, as vice president of Blue Cross Blue Shield, and also with Roche Pharmaceutical Manufacturing Company. And I mean, listen, I mean, this is one sector that is only going to grow and expand. And I don't know what specific business you are in the area that you described, but again, I would think about that the technology components, or how do you connect? I think about nurses, for example. I have a cousin who is a traveling nurse, and she can be deployed at any moment using technology. And so as service providers, which is where most of Black businesses are in the professional services, I think everything is up for grabs. And I believe whether it's in healthcare or whether it's in retail, et cetera, forward thinking, reimagining opportunities. And I'll mention one other thing, and I know you're talking about dietitians, but I'm intrigued by and working on a fascinating initiative around barbershops and beauty salons in our community. How do we reimagine and rethink them in this new economy? Here's the deal. There are two institutions that still have been sustained over the history of the Black community: the church and barbershops and beauty salons. There was a research report done that showed where the influence that Black barbers have on Black men when it comes to hypertension, right? That's fascinating. So imagine if we could restructure and rethink barbershops and beauty salons as places for healthcare information, for blood pressure checks. The data is real. And so even if you think of, dietitians, what is the traditional role of dietitian? I mean, maybe there should be dietitians in churches and in barbershops, because that is how we also can address some of the healthcare disparities, which again, COVID-19 has brought front and center. The vast disparities and impact on the Black community, whether it's in, the underlying conditions or healthcare information. So this is that time that, I believe that we're on pause, and it is a time for us to think about and repurpose our businesses and ourselves and reimagine this entire world we live in.
That's great. So I have another question. How can businesses use technology to mitigate the impact of this crisis in the future?
Well, again, I mean, as I've said before, I mean, I think it is all about technology. We're all working from home. I mean, who's creating the platform for Black businesses? We all got to go to Zoom and Microsoft Teams. Where's the Black-owned enterprise that owns and is one of these innovative platforms to be able to communicate? How we deliver food and products and services. There's so many opportunities here, and I think again, Black businesses that can lean forward and connect to technology and this moment of redesigning our economy will be the companies that will be successful. So I see Black businesses all over the country trying to figure this out, and because it's a matter of survival, and it's a matter of necessity if we're going to stay alive and grow and expand.
Yeah, that's a good leeway to my next question. We talk about capacity building a lot in our office, but one of the things right now businesses are struggling with is just how to maintain. So how can minority businesses maintain their business, but at the same time focus what's going to be the new economy utilizing technology in the future?
Yeah, well, one good thing again to add to what I've already said about technology, that we all have access to it, and we can research. I mean, everything now is at a click away from knowledge and information. So one thing we need to do is learn. I spent an inordinate amount of time quarantined and during this time doing research and researching market trends and market opportunities. And that's a good thing that we can be doing now, using technology again. And how to use technology, go learn about joint ventures and do some matchmaking and connect to supply chains, and understanding all of the resources that are available to us. There's a myriad of resources that we don't even know about and we don't even understand. And so I mentioned that because using technology as a vehicle to learn and grow and expand our knowledge base can be extremely valuable during these difficult times, this downturn in our economy, where we're all working from home.
Good. So you talked about the inequality of opportunity. Are there any other initiatives that you and the Chamber are focused on to assist our more disadvantaged businesses during this crisis?
Well, yeah, and I will point you again to uschamber.com, equality of opportunity. We've laid out a very aggressive and comprehensive agenda that deals with the broader ecosystem of how do we strengthen and grow Black businesses. For example, we're having this conversation directly in response to what this means for Black businesses, but that's also correlated to corporate supply chains, which is also, there's a correlation to who leads these corporations. So we're doing everything from how do we create more diversity in C-suites in corporations? What about board diversity? What about opportunities for Black-owned business owners to serve on corporate boards? I mean, there's a myriad of things that we got to solve for. Obviously, one of the reasons perhaps why capital doesn't flow to Black businesses is because there's a lack of diversity in the lending offices of these banks. So we got to deal with this from both bookends, from the end user, which is the Black business, but also the supplier of capital, which is the majority institutions in our society. So there's a number of fronts that we're working on. One of the fun, fascinating initiatives I'm working on, which we started at the Chamber some 2 years ago, is an initiative I call the Next Gen Business Partnership with historically Black colleges and minority serving institutions. This is all about inspiring the next generation of innovators and entrepreneurs. If you think about it, at least I'm dating myself, when I was in undergrad, and in particular, I can remember my parents saying, you need to get a good education so you can get a good job. We don't talk enough about get a good education so you can start your own business, right? And so we're working to advance this conversation about the importance of this next generation of entrepreneurs. I testified on Capitol Hill last year before the U.S. House Small Business Committee about patent diversity. We don't own patents like we should, because we don't understand that process. So there are a lot of pieces to this, Aisha, but I think, again, it is about making sure that we're creating a pipeline of new innovators and entrepreneurs, but also supporting and expanding the businesses that currently exist.
That's great. Mr. Wade, I don't know if you can see everyone, but a lot of the reactions, like hand clapping and amen. So you're getting a great reaction. So thank you so much. We have a question. With the increase in technology use, can you please suggest any cybersecurity tips for small business owners?
Oh, I can direct you to our cybersecurity department. I'm not going to profess to know everything about cybersecurity and provide tips, but you should know that at the Chamber, all of these issues, I mean, we're the largest business organization in the world, and there are vast resources, whether it's around cybersecurity or international trade. And we have a division called CTech, which is Chamber Tech, where we're dealing with issues related to cybersecurity and autonomous automation and data analytics and blockchain. This is, again, that opportunity while we're working from home, we can also learn. So I would direct you to the resources at the Chamber. We do about 2,200 events a year. Join in, they're free. and get that knowledge and get that understanding about the challenges and tips around cybersecurity. One of the things, Ron Busby, again, I built a coalition of all of the Black business organizations and others, whether it's in the Hispanic community or Asian, et cetera. But, I saw a quote where Ron talked about the data privacy issues that we don't even think about enough as Black businesses. If we were ever hacked and we lose our data, the little data we have, that's the problem. So there are a lot of issues here when you think about technology and data that we have to think forward and lean forward to learn more about and be aggressive in our efforts to understand these issues.
Right. And Michelle Abraham said that the CBDC is launching a new cybersecurity program for small businesses in October, and everyone is welcome. So we'll discuss more of some of our local resources that are available. So thank you for sharing that, Michelle. Iris said, I learned from NPR on Monday that the Richland County Library has an entrepreneur resource person. Are you aware of this resource? So Iris, yes, we will discuss that in just a moment. We have representatives from Richland Library that are already prepared to share that information with you. So thank you for that reminder.
Rick, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I wanted to mention, thank you, Aisha. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I know you're on a roll. Also mentioned about access to resources. And Rick, Mr. Wade, if you have anyone out there that's a small business owner, the City of Columbia, we just received $2.7 million to put into our small business community to help mitigate some of the impact of the coronavirus in our city. So that's one resource that's out there. The actual applications will be available after the second reading of City Council and approval on September 15th. So we're looking at probably September 17th or 18th. Those applications will be online and ready. So that's for all of our partners, everyone on the call. We have actually, it's going to be 0% interest for the first year. The loans will range from $10,000 to $200,000. And once that first year is up, we're going to lock it in at 2.5%. We're going to look at credit on a case-by-case basis. We have modified our traditional guidelines that go with our commercial revolving loan funds to make sure that these funds are more accessible to everyone. So especially those that did not receive the PPP funding. So we don't want anyone to be left out. So please, if you all can, just direct people to us and we want to help them. Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa. Now, Mr. Wade, I know you have another engagement shortly, so we're going to wrap up this portion of the presentation, but are there any final words you want to share with the group before you leave us?
Well, I'll just say again, I'm very passionate about this issue of business and particularly Black business. I mean, growing up in Lancaster, my hometown, we used to have an area, and I think in all communities, they had their own area. Ours was called the Hill. And it's where all the Black businesses existed, whether they were doctors' offices, dentists, or lawyers, or fresh seafood markets and restaurants, that is, and little cafes. We didn't have Starbucks, but ours was called the Knick Knack Cafe. And there was a funeral home. But my point is, I remember as a kid growing up in Lancaster, where those business owners were not just business owners. They were our role models. They were our leaders of the community. And, you fast forward now, and also Springs Industry was there. It was a big textile company. Springs closed down. The Hill as we knew it is gone now. And you see some of the social issues, whether it's crime and violence and lack of education. All of this is inextricably linked. And I'm passionate about how do we go back and create, whether it's the Hill or Black Wall Street, or we can do this. We've done this before in other challenging times. And because this is the fabric of our society. And we have to solve for these issues in a very aggressive, deliberate way. Tragically, again, I mean, it's taken the murder of George Floyd, it's taken a pandemic to, I think, put our country and our society and our communities, people on pause. This is a time for us to reimagine and repurpose ourselves as people and as a society. And I believe as we redesign this new America and this new world, we have to be at the forefront and have to be in the seat in the economic role. And Black businesses must be forefront and center. So thank you for the work that you're doing back home in Columbia. I look forward to getting back home sooner than later. I hope you'll view me as a resource to continue not just this dialogue, but to help you access the resources that you need to continue to grow and inspire businesses in Columbia and in South Carolina.
Thank you, Mr. Wade. This has been a phenomenal conversation, and
Yeah.
we will absolutely invite you to come join us. Hopefully, maybe next year sometime physically we can have you come join us in some capacity. So, Melissa, did you want to say something?
I just wanted to say thank you again for coming on. And there were so many other topics that you mentioned in regards to, resources and things that we need to do. I would love to have you come back on to talk about some other things later before next year. As you mentioned, there's a sense of urgency right now, and the city, we're there. We're with you. We're doing another disparity study in the next year or two. It's needed. We continue to try to do outreach and make sure that our minority businesses are at least 15% engaged department by department in expenditures throughout the city. So there's efforts underway here to take our city to a different level, and Ms. Wilson has done that. Our mayor, our city council, they're leading the effort. They want to be inclusive. We hear the city manager and our mayor always talk about inclusivity and making sure that everyone has equal access to procurement opportunities within the city. And it's our role at OBO is to make sure that we're connecting our businesses not only to internal resources that are there to help grow and sustain their businesses, but also to our partners and also to other resources, and making sure information gets out there. And you are certainly a wealth of information, and we would love to have you come back and share more knowledge with us, if you don't mind.
To do that.
Thank you.
Please give the mayor my regards. We had him.
I will.
We had him front and center at our Equality of Opportunity Town Hall for the very reasons that you described, because he's been a real champion for this work as well.
It's about access. If you don't have access to information, capital, you're limited. So thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Roy. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So at this time, we're going to move on to our partnering agencies. Our first one is Richland Library. So I believe Andrina is going to share her screen. While she's doing that, I just want to recognize that today's webinar is powered by Free Thinkers Radio. They are on all media platforms and provide live streaming services to businesses and the community. Free Thinkers uses their platform and technology to share valuable information to the community. Their website is freethinkers.com. All right. So now, Andrina King. Melissa.
Aisha. Yes, and we also would like to recognize our public relations department, Justin, Leisha Udsi, for helping us not only with this webinar, making sure that our community is engaged, they're part of this discussion, but also for what they do on a daily and weekly basis to get information out to our community. So we certainly don't want to forget the Department of Public Relations and that great team, making sure that we get this information to you. Thank you.
Thank you. And just real quick, I've been corrected. It's freethinkersradio.com. Don't forget the radio about that. Okay, Andrina, we're going to turn it over to you.
Thank you, Aisha. My name is Andrina King, and I'm the Workforce Development Specialist at Richland Library in the Business and Careers Center. And one of the things that we wanted to do today, Diane Lucy will come after me to share some additional information. I know someone mentioned about the entrepreneur in residence, and she'll elaborate a little bit more about that after that. I wanted to share my screen so I could show everyone our website. Our staff have worked very, very hard to compile a lot of different information to assist our small business community. And one of the things I will do after I share is I will put the links inside of the chat so you can have access to that. But if you go to our main page, richlandlibrary.com, there's a section on our main page that says services. And when you go to services, when you go down, there's a section that says employment and small business help. So there's two sections. Someone, if they're, an employee and they're looking for work and need, some additional resources, they can click that. But then there's one that's also dedicated for a small business owner. And we are constantly updating this information. And as you can see, it has, if it's a business that has 5 to 100 employees or 100 to 500, it has different areas as far as you can click on those different boxes to get additional information. If a small business need to get information about resources on how they can assist their employees, that information is on there too. Different loans that were available when the pandemic first started, that information was on there, and it would take small business owners directly to that particular page. We have a lot of information on here from a lot of our community partners as well. One of the things that I wanted to show you is we also have a entrepreneur and small business Facebook group. This is a group that is dedicated for small businesses to be able to discuss ideas, bounce ideas off each other, collaborate. It is not a page for advertising. So I just want to highlight that it's not a page for advertising, but one of the things that we do encourage people to do once they ask to join the group, they can, of course, announce, themselves, their business, and what type of services they provide. But we have a lot of great dialogue on that Facebook group page, and a lot of resources. So if you're a small business owner and you have a question, definitely, put the information out there, because we have over 1,000 members at this time. So we just have a wealth of knowledge on that particular page. Another link that we have on our website is it's richlandlibrary.com/entrepreneurs. And this goes into a lot of some other things about programs. And Diane would talk about the entrepreneur in residence, but I kind of want to mention 1 Million Cups. Is of course, when we were meeting face to face, we were meeting on a weekly basis, and it was an opportunity for local entrepreneurs to come and meet and present their startups to a group of peers over coffee. We are still meeting virtually every Wednesday at 9:00, and we're also still looking for presenters. So if anyone, or if you know anyone that is looking to or interested in presenting, they can go to the website, and I will make sure I put all of these links in the chat box, 1millioncups.com/Columbia, South Carolina, and it has a link for you to go ahead to apply, and you can get additional information about that as well. And I wanted to show you also on this page, we have a research and learn section. We have a lot of different databases that are available. If you don't have a library card, because you're not a Richland County resident, you can get one. It's $65 a year annually, but a lot of the databases and things of that nature are very helpful. That's on here. On this particular website. So it's on this particular page, and we pulled out these different ones that are relative to small business. We've done some different things. A lot of people use Reference USA for market research and things of that nature. So it's a good resource to be able to tap into. Okay, Diane, I think you're up.
And Andrina, do you want to put your contact information in the chat just in case anyone wants to reach you at the library?
Okay, I will.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you're on mute, Diane. There
we
go.
Okay. Thank you, everyone, for inviting Richland Library to participate in the webinar this afternoon. I'm very pleased to share, and I'm not sure why my slides are moving on their own, so let me go back here. Hold on just a minute. Might be timed. Okay, so I'm going to share some information about an exciting new initiative called the Entrepreneurial Launchpad. A key concept of the Entrepreneurial Launchpad is our Entrepreneur in Residence service. And you can see that we have already had 3 different entrepreneurs from 3 different business backgrounds, Bain Dangerfield, Lucenta Lewis Ellis, and Kimiko Myers. And this was enabled through a grant that the library received, the Columbia Impact Challenge grant, back in late 2018. And we were able to create this model for the Entrepreneur in Residence service. The Entrepreneurial Launchpad allows us to now offer a new EIR, Karen R. Jenkins, and she will be with us through the middle of December. And so depending upon the course of the pandemic, we will be able to offer additional entrepreneurs through the end of 2021. So a little bit about Karen. Karen is the president and CEO of KRJ Consulting, which is a full-service consulting firm that specializes in value-added workforce development, staff augmentation, and management consulting services for government agencies, companies, and small businesses. Karen is also the author of Nobody Told Me, The Path to Financial Empowerment, a guide to building a solid and attainable financial foundation. So more in just a bit about Karen R. Jenkins. So serving our small business customers is a top priority at Richland Library. We offer relevant programming while seeking feedback from customers and local businesses to identify potential gaps and possible solutions to address them. Free training opportunities are crucial to remove barriers for customers who want to realize their dream of small business ownership. 2 examples of such trainings are the Etsy Craft Entrepreneurship Program, and you can see the cohort here on the screen. And the second one is the upcoming Ice House presentation that will be starting in October. Let me go back here. So moving on, an important component of the library's Build Business grant from ALA Google is the Entrepreneurial Library of Things. Currently, there are 6 different kits that are available for small business owners to check out. They include a podcasting kit, photography, microphone, backdrop kit, ring light kit, and LED light kit. Due to the pandemic, however, the libraries had to put this service on hold temporarily, but once we are able to add curbside pickup to our services, we will be restarting this important service for small business owners. The other aspect of the Entrepreneurial Launchpad is our digital experiences. Richland Library offers our business customers various ways to participate in virtual learning experiences that are crucial during these challenging times. In addition to Karen Jenkins's one-on-one small business coaching appointments, we offer the Entrepreneurs and Small Business Facebook group that Andrina mentioned, also our business databases, and contributed content posts on richlandlibrary.com. We also offer targeted virtual business programming to address issues that small businesses need to know during COVID-19. And so if you are a small business owner and you would like to schedule an appointment with Karen R. Jenkins, let me show you how you would do that. Let me stop sharing for just a moment. And then I'm going to share the screen again. So let's go back. Hold on just 1 minute. Okay, I'm going to go to richlandlibrary.com. Then I'd like you to click on services. And once you do that, I would like you to choose Book a Learning Coach, which is in the center here. Once you've done that, you just fill out this form. And where I would like you to stop and take a second look is the required field of detailed description of your needs. What you would like to put there, if you'd like to request a small business coaching appointment with Karen R. Jenkins, just put down that exactly. I'm requesting a small business coaching appointment. Once you do that, a staff member will pick up that request, and then they're going to send you an email with the instructions and a link how to move forward with that request. So, does anyone have any questions about how to request the small business coaching appointment, or anything in specific detail about the Entrepreneurial Launchpad initiative through ALA Google?
Diane, I have a question about do they have to have a library card in order to utilize the services? I'm assuming they're asking about the entrepreneur in residence.
Yes, that's a great question. No, they do not. And the other thing is, if they are not comfortable using Zoom, when they get the link in their email, there is an option to have a phone conversation with Karen. And so basically what they're wanting to do is to go to this Book a Learning Coach form, go ahead and fill in the information, request the small business coaching appointment, and then they should receive an email with the steps, what they need to do. And no, they can also do it without a library card, because again, we're trying to remove barriers, and this is a community service. And I have to thank the participant who asked about the EIR service, because earlier this week, Karen R. Jenkins, our new EIR, was featured on SC Public Radio. And the thought to consider, which they left the listeners with, was, wouldn't it be great if public libraries across the state of South Carolina could each have their own EIR service and be able to expand the service statewide? And I thought that was a wonderful idea. And hopefully at some point, perhaps that will be possible. I'm going to go ahead and put my email address in the chat in case anyone thinks of a question that they would like to ask. They can also email me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Diane. That was great. Richland Library is a great partner for the City of Columbia, and we utilize their services. And thank you so much for being a part of this webinar. So at this point, we're going to move on to Cheryl Sally with Benedict College Women's Business Center.
Good afternoon, everyone. Can you see my screen?
Not yet. Oh, yes, we see it now.
Right. All right. Good afternoon. And thank you so much for having us on. And this has been a great event. I'm Cheryl Sally, the director. I serve as director of the Benedict College Women's Business Center, a new center. We're excited about that. We are funded in part through a cooperative agreement with the U.S. Small Business Administration. And you heard from Mr. Wade already about the disparity and about the what's going on now because of COVID with our minority businesses. So I won't go into that. But the purpose of the women's business, the BCWBC, is to provide equal opportunities to minority women entrepreneurs by stimulating growth and development, bridging disparities, and equalizing the playing field across all sectors. And we're excited. Something very unique about the Women's Business Center is that we are the only federally funded HBCU in the nation with statewide coverage operating a WBC. So we're so happy to have and excited to have this opportunity to serve this community and make an impact. And we're an economic development organization, but we're also part of a nationwide community business and economic development programs that includes the WBC, the Small Business Development Centers, SCORE, and the Veteran Business Opportunity Centers. We have a group of dynamic and expert trained business advisors on staff, and I'll talk about them a little bit later. The business, BCWBC, our mission is to support economic prosperity for women and strengthen communities through entrepreneurial and financial education services that create and grow sustainable jobs and businesses across South Carolina. So what we want to do, just like Mr. Wade say, is come up with things and help make a difference and have an impact and maybe help to bring some of the businesses back who has already had to close because of COVID, and then just to strengthen the existing ones. Our vision at the BCWBC is to create a gateway out of poverty for socially and economically disadvantaged women entrepreneurs. We do that by helping them to start, grow, and expand their businesses. We were established to empower our low to moderate income women and minorities with programs that promote economic sufficiency, build assets, improve their lives and those of their families. So we have, to whom much is given, much is required. We have a lot to do, and we all have a lot to do in this community, but I think together we can do it. We can step up and do what's needed to be done with our business community, with our small and minority businesses. How we carry out this mission, we provide one-on-one consulting with our expert advisors at no cost. We have a lot of smorgasbord of educational workshops, information, training seminars coming up through referrals and joint service with our service providers. And the thing about it, we're already a family in this community that we serve. We already have an established relationship and network of business partners. So that is a great thing. And together we'll continue to collaborate and network to serve this community. The BCWBC, we help startups, existing businesses, for-profit organizations, and our target market is women, particularly minority women that historically experience more social and economic disparities than their counterparts. While we service and target women, and particularly women of color, we do help all businesses, regardless of the ethnic background or the gender. So we're focused on businesses throughout South Carolina, small businesses. And this is just a snapshot of our staff. Like I said, we have our administrative coordinator, LaToya Lindsay. You'll see more of her. Renee is on the call. I believe Renee Joy, she's a case manager. We're working with Lucinda Lewis Ellis. You know her. And then we have, through the CARES Act, we were also awarded funding to focus on services that will help those small and minority businesses who have been impacted by COVID. And so we have a project coordinator that will focus on that. Two brilliant resiliency advisors, Professor DeGar, she's on the call, and Professor Raquel Thomas. In addition to that, we have a great group of technical assistance consultants who's going to be doing a lot of training for us in the coming months and over the course of the year. These are some of the services business planning and development. We will be doing a workshop coming up soon about resiliency and disaster recovery planning. And we've done that before, but I don't think we can do enough and helping those businesses to pivot, and come up, as Mr. Wade said, we got to come up with a different way of doing things, but embracing technology. So we want to do that. Financial management, one of the things that I think we've all seen is the infrastructure as it relates to accountability and having those systems in place, the accounting systems and bookkeeping and all of that. So we'll do a lot with that. And actually, we have another great thing about the Benedict College Women Business Center is our ability to tap in and work with the interns there who are ready to work as well. And they will help us at the WBC, but they will also be available to help our small and minority women-owned businesses. So we're excited about that as well, and to expose them to business ownership as a real valuable option. So we'll be doing a lot of that. These are some of the upcoming workshops that we have planned. Next week on Wednesday, the 2nd, we will have our official launch ceremony. And we're excited about that for sure. We will have our U.S. SBA administrator, Javita Carranza, here, as well as the regional administrator. We're looking to have Congressman Clyburn, Lieutenant Governor, Mayor Benjamin, and quite a few more will be on probably in person. We're asking that all of our partners, while we can't have everybody in person, we want everybody to be virtual and join us. So we will be live streaming, and we will be, I will put a link shortly where you can register to be a part of the virtual audience. So Dr. Smith, the Chief of Staff at Benedict, she has worked across the country with disaster relief and working with FEMA. And so she's going to be heading up one of our workshops, helping talk about disaster recovery and so on and so forth. Key partners, we partner with companies, corporate America, private and public sector across the state. This is just a short list of some of them. South Carolina Department of Commerce, South Carolina Community Loan Fund, Department of Transportation, so on and so forth. And I think a lot of us on the call, we're already connected. And so we're going to build that list with Mr. Wade, U.S. Chamber of Commerce, and with the U.S. Women's Chamber of Commerce. So this is, and I won't go into all of this, but we do have a lot of training. And so we're looking to continuously collaborate and work with you all and partner to put on, to do the education and training that our businesses need. We will focus a lot on certification and helping those minority women-owned small businesses who are ready to do business with the government, getting them certified with whether it's city, county, state, or federal, or Carolina, Virginia Minority Supply Development Council. So we're really excited about serving this community, as I said, Benedict, through the Benedict College Women Business Center. These are just some other ways that we connect, building more partnerships. We have we're going to be connecting with the other HBCUs around the state. Want to make sure that we, the WBC, as well as our partner, the SBDC, SCORE, and maybe even the Veteran Business Opportunity Center, making sure that we have a presence throughout South Carolina, through the HBCUs across the state. So that's one of the things that we're going to do. And this is just ways to participate through contributions and donations. We take them all day, every day. I hate Mr. Wade got off the phone. But and this is our BCWBC slogan. It is our pledge to work side by side with the women entrepreneurs and local businesses to retain and build industry and commerce, create jobs, and improve economic opportunities for all communities. So with that, let me put in, this is our email address. My email address is csalley@bcwbc.org, and that's CSALLEY at bcwbc.org. And I will put our event link in the chat box. Any questions?
Cheryl, Andrina asked, do you have a distribution list that goes out yet with upcoming programs and events?
I will.
Okay,
I will get that to you all. Yes,
okay,
ma'am.
And Andrina wants to be on that list.
Okay. Yes. Yes, ma'am.
That's awesome. And the city looks forward to continuing to work with you. I think in your statement, your mission statement, it talked about working together, and we totally believe that there's not too many agencies that can help our small business community. So
absolutely,
it's great that we can partner.
Absolutely.
And then Diane also provided just information on setting up that meeting with Karen Jenkins is in the chat. If anyone's interested in doing that, the directions are in there. So now we're going to move on to last but not least, Michelle Abraham. If you would like to share your screen. And make sure you unmute your mic.
Okay. Now, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Let me just go back here. All right, so it's just a pleasure to be here, and I want to start by just acknowledging Melissa and Aisha and the whole team over at OBO. We have done a lot of work with all of you over the years, and you're a terrific partner, and it's just so great to be able to be a part of this today. Mr. Wade was really interesting, had a lot of great information to share, and Cheryl is she and I go way back. She worked for us until just a few minutes ago when she took over the Women's Business Center. So I'm really excited to have her in this new role. And it just really helps in terms of all of the collaboration. You've all heard the saying that it takes a village to raise a child. Well, it takes a community to raise a business. And so with all of us working together, that's how we leverage the resources and really bring to the entrepreneurs and small businesses across the state all of the kinds of support that you can use to help you be successful in business. And I just want to encourage you on behalf of all of us to reach out and take advantage of all of these services. It's why we're here. And we all really try to work together and team and refer people back and forth so that you're getting the benefit of all of the services that collectively we have to offer. The Small Business Development Center Network, otherwise known as the SBDC, which almost nobody ever gets right, the acronym, but that's who we are. We're part of a nationwide network of 62 programs and over 1,000 centers. We were established, excuse me, in 1979, both nationally and here in South Carolina. We've been here in the state for 41 years. We have, at this point, probably about 60 professional trained advisors who will work with you one-on-one. And these people are just about without exception all business owners themselves, or they have been. Many of them come out of the banking industry as well, so there's a tremendous amount of expertise. And we work together so that when you come to the SBDC, you have one person that's your primary contact, but you basically have access to the entire group of all of our advisors. So no matter what kind of help you need, we've got that expertise somewhere in the network that can support you. Our consulting services are all completely free of charge. We never charge for that. We provide a lot of educational programming, just like Cheryl was talking about. And I'm going to show you our website later. There's a calendar there that shows pretty much everything that we're doing right now. right now with COVID, of course, all of our training programs are online and we're not charging for any of those at all either. So it's a great opportunity to take advantage of these. We also are funded by Congress, and we operate the U.S. Small Business Administration administers our program. So we go through both a national accreditation, very robust accreditation to assure that the SBDCs around the country are providing stellar level, high quality services, and according also to all of the requirements of Congress and the federal government. Here in South Carolina, our mission is to advance the economic development of the state by helping entrepreneurs grow successful businesses. And what does that mean? Well, basically, we have 20 centers. They're in both the cities and the rural areas. We also have a lot of additional satellite centers where people are there on a part-time basis. So no matter where you are in the state, we're not far away. We are all working mostly still remotely right now and can access and talk with you by phone, by email, with online programs, whatever is going to be easiest and most convenient for you. So the private consulting at no cost, the educational workshops, we do, as everybody's been mentioning, a lot of referrals and joint services with other service partners, whether it be the Women's Business Centers, the City of Columbia, the SBA. We work very closely with all the lenders all over the state, so we're very familiar with all of the financing packages that are out there and what lenders are looking for. We were primarily called upon by Congress to help businesses prepare for and apply for all of the PPP loans and the other things that have been brought out through the CARES Act under COVID. And so we have a lot of additional tools and resources that we can bring to bear to help you. We serve for-profit businesses. We serve established businesses. It could be somebody that's been around for 40 years and now they're dealing with, really trying to sustain their businesses and pivot due to COVID. We also work with businesses that are just starting out. And I think one of the things that's important to remember is that with the SBDC, we will work with you for as long as you need our help. So we very often will start with somebody when they're first starting the business, and we'll work with them for 20 years through the life cycle of the business, even with some that are looking to develop succession plans and looking at how to sell or turn their business. We work with you through all of that. And our hope is that we help you eventually become a bigger business so that you no longer qualify for SBDC assistance. But if you think about us, like if you think about a big corporation and they have all the different departments, they have marketing, they have research, they have finance, they have international trade, that's what an SBDC is to you. We can provide all of those services that a big corporation gets in-house to kind of help you level the playing ground and have the assistance that you need. And we work with any type of business that's out there. This is an interesting piece of data. We do this on a national basis every year, and I think this really helps to show you the value of taking advantage of service providers. This is a national study, and this looks at, on the left, is job growth. And basically what it says is that on average, small businesses grow about 1.3% per year versus 15.3% per year if they're getting SBDC assistance. And the same thing goes with sales or their revenues. Their sales tend to be over 4 times greater when they're getting assistance from an SBDC than if they're trying to do it on their own. So it really does help you take your business to the next level. Services we provide, and this is going to look pretty familiar to what Cheryl just talked about, but financial management, helping you get a good bookkeeping system in place. Right now, a lot of businesses really need help with managing your cash flow with all the issues that we're having. Loan applications, as I said, we work with all of the lenders out there, and we can really help you understand what their requirements are, get those loan applications prepared properly and accurately and thoroughly, and help you choose lenders that are going to have the kind of products that you need. Operations and HR systems. If you're starting to hire employees, we can help you with putting together HR manuals and job descriptions and just running the internal operations. A couple of the areas now that we're doing a tremendous amount of work in as COVID has come up is really helping businesses figure out, how do I pivot to have products and services that are relevant and accessible to clients now that we're dealing in a different world. So we do a lot right now with helping people develop marketing plans and strategies, and that includes how do I get my business online? How do I get a website set up or mine enhanced so that I can actually sell my products, do e-commerce online, to promote my business online through various types of social media and other platforms. We can help you put that whole program together and help you with really more effectively marketing online, as well as when you're able to get back into your stores and work out of the brick and mortar location. And the same thing goes for business and strategic planning, getting your business growing again. A lot of people lost a lot of clients, right, through all of this because you've had to shut down, and people couldn't buy during the time that you were shut down. And so now folks are trying to figure out, gosh, how do I get my business up and going again? How do I find my clients again? How do I get them to continue to work with me, or bring in new clients? So we'll work with you on all those strategies, really looking at your business model, making it sure that it's something that's sustainable over the long haul. And then all of the different certifications, whether it's certification for being a veteran-owned or a veteran-owned disabled business, or minority business, women-owned businesses, all of those kinds of certifications we help with as well. Between 44 and 46% of our client base is African American. In total, all minorities represent about 50% of our client base, and women represent about 49%. So we serve a very diverse group of people. Mr. Wade mentioned global opportunities, and that's one of the things that we have a group of export specialists that can help you. If you've gotten a business started and you're up and running and you're looking at trying to expand through exporting, we've got specialists that can help you figure that out, put together an export business plan, figure out how you're going to finance that plan. If you need financing specifically for exporting, that's a little different animal than just other loans. We also have government contracting specialists. So if you want to expand into government contracts, we can help you with that. If you're a business that's really gotten innovative and you've gotten a new product or technology that you're trying to develop and get to market, we have specialists that can help you with that. And just, the whole idea of diversifying your business, all of those kinds of things are areas where we can support you. And I mentioned cybersecurity before in the chat box. We realize that with everybody going online, cybersecurity is even more of an issue than it's ever been. And small businesses are more vulnerable and the biggest target because we are more vulnerable. So we have a whole series coming out that will launch in October during Cybersecurity Month. We'll be promoting that. It'll be on our website, and we'll look to partners like the city and OBO to help us promote that. But we've got outside experts, and it will help you as a small business do something that's doable for you, that can really help you put in place some good protection for your business against those threats with cybersecurity. And this just gives you a little sense. Just over the last 5 years in South Carolina, we've helped almost 22,000 clients. We've helped them create and save 6,000 jobs. We've helped them get $3.4 billion in government contracts. $261 million in financing through lenders, and we've helped start 870 business. So we just like to remind you, ask us, we can help. We're here. We want to support you. We work with all of our partners. So, we're going to all help come together and help you make your business a success. And I will put our website up in the chat box as well, but it's very easy, www.scsbdc.com. And if you want to see all of our events, there's a training tab at the top. Just click on that and it will bring up our calendar, and you can look month by month at the different events that we're and webinars and training events that we're offering throughout the state. So if there are any questions, I'm happy to answer them. But again, thank you for allowing me to be a part of this. And we're just excited to continue to work with our partners and supporting all of you out there that are so diligently working on your businesses.
Thank you, Michelle. I'll also share that Cheryl put the Eventbrite link for their upcoming launch ceremony next week if anyone wants to sign up for that virtual event. Again, this was great. We talked about leveraging technology, and the partnerships just demonstrate how we also need to leverage our resources together. And that's why we're all here. We thought it would be important for our businesses to know the existing resources that are already available in your backyard. So if you have any questions about those resources, please contact our partners, or you can contact us and we'll direct you to them. Melissa, did you want to say anything as we wrap up?
I'm just so happy about all of these resources, and also about the work that we do, but also the work of our partners. Michelle, yes, I messed up the acronym, and tech staff would tell you I mess up all the time with acronyms.
You're amongst many.
But the SBDC, and I refer people always to you guys because you do such great work. Alan's on here too, and he's always present at everything we do, providing an ear to many of the entrepreneurs that come into our shop. So thank you and your team, Alan, everyone, for all the great work that you do. And thank you, Cheryl. We are working very, very closely with, and we plan to do more work with the SBDC, but also with the Women's Business Center at Benedict, because we're all in this together and we're all serving the same people. Diane, also you and your group at Richland County Library. There's so many great resources, and my mom was a librarian, so I don't take that for heart. I take it very seriously what you do. And I'm just still so amazed at how innovative and connected the library is. I've been going to the library since I was like 2 years old. So I love books, love reading, and it's just amazing to me the leaps and bounds that, the new library has taken on. But again, I'm so excited to be in this space. I know we're dealing with so many things from, globally right now with the coronavirus. But as Rick mentioned earlier, it's given us an opportunity to look at ourselves, to reflect, and to figure out how we can not only push our agendas forward in helping people, but what things do we need to really look at internally with our business model in terms of making sure that we're reaching and we're serving the people that we're supposed to be serving. And I think it's going to be a little more difficult it has become more difficult but we're going to get there because we're innovative and we're working together as a team. And I pledge, the city manager pledge, the mayor's pledge, if there's anything that we can do for any of our partners, for our small business in general, we're doing it and we're going to try to do it. And we know, I know you've heard, we all have budget cuts. The city of Columbia, we experienced within OBO a $300,000 cut to our budget this year. One of our programs we're not able to do this coming year, but we found other resources because we're creative in that way to do it. But it's going to take that type of thinking, that type of pivoting that we're telling our businesses that they need to do for us as partners to do. We're here for our community, and there are any small businesses out there that need help. We want to help you. And the partners that are on the phone, they're just as committed as we are. And when they say call them, they mean call them. These resources are free. We have resources available at the city that are free. We are still here. Just call the number that you see on the screen. Someone will answer your call. We will get presentations out to everyone that was on the call today with the information that our presenters shared. And this has been recorded. It will be available for playback later on different social media platforms through the City of Columbia. I want to say the Women's Business Center may also have it on theirs. But again, Richland County Library, please use our resources as you need to. We're here and we're in this together. And I think that's it, because I know Aisha's like, she's still talking. But I am so happy about seeing everyone. I haven't seen everyone in a minute. But thank you for all that you do. Thank you for working with us. And thank you for allowing us to be a part of all the great work that you do in the community as well.
Okay.
Thank you,
everyone. We will continue to be a resilient Columbia. If there's anything our office can do for you, please let us know. I hope y'all have a great rest of your day. Bye.
All right.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you. Bye.